Imagine for a moment being in the wilds of northwestern British Columbia, hiking up alongside a small, shallow river teeming with salmon, and suddenly encountering a white bear wading in the shallows and trying to catch fish. This white bear cannot be a polar bear, as it is much too far south and within what is called the Great Bear Rainforest. It also does not have the characteristics of an albino bear. It is indeed what is commonly called a spirit bear, sometimes also named a ghost bear, as they seem to appear and vanish without a trace. Spirit bears are actually a subspecies of black bears. These bears can be found primarily on 3 islands in the Great Bear Rainforest, and as well, there is a small population near Terrace, British Columbia. The highest concentration is probably found on Gribble Island, where it is estimated that 3 out of 10 black bears are actually white, therefore spirit bears. It is also estimated that 1 out of 10 black bears on Princess Royal Island are white spirit bears. Spirit bears are also called by their scientific name, Kermode, named after Francis Kermode, the scientist who determined that they were actually a subspecies of black bears and not albino. It takes 2 recessive genes for a black bear mother to have a white cub or vice versa. This is very similar to an individual having blue eyes or red hair. Some First Nation legends indicate that the raven decided that 1 out of 10 black bears would be white to remember that this area was under ice and snow during the last ice age. Other people have indicated that as the Great Bear Rainforest has a lot of mist, all of a sudden people would see a white bear and think it was an apparition, as the bear would just as suddenly disappear in the fog as it had initially appeared in it. In any case, spirit bears are few in number, perhaps less than a dozen on Gribble Island, and very difficult to see due to the density of the forest in the Great Bear Rainforest. Most people in British Columbia would not ever have seen a spirit bear. They are very elusive. Studies done by the University of British Columbia has indicated that the spirit bears are 36% more likely to catch salmon than black bears. In their study, they indicated that at night the success rate of white and black bears was essentially equal. However, during the daytime, black bears were successful 25% of the time, while spirit bears were successful 33% of the time in catching fish. It is not unusual to see a black bear mother with a white cub, and at times having both a white cub and a black cub. Spirit bears have the following characteristics. They have white fur with some undertone of color, mainly from dirt picked up while walking or fishing. Their claws are white, almost translucent. Their nose is either dark brown or black. The underside of their paws are also black. They shed their fur in the spring, therefore appearing even more white in the early summer. They have tremendous balance, as you will see in the number of pictures and videos. This is this commentator's first experience at seeing a spirit bear up close and personal. You will note that this bear, about every 3 or 4 steps, may stick his tongue out. You can see him climbing up on the log, ambling towards us as we are busy taking photos and videos. And look at his balance as well. You can see the bear balancing himself expertly on this very narrow log, walking all the way down, looking to see if there's any fish around. And when he gets to the bottom, he will turn and go across the river to the other side. Thankfully, it is illegal for these bears to be hunted. They are a protected species. Even the First Nations have historically been resistant to even talk about these bears, as they considered them sacred, and therefore they would not want to hunt them or harm them in any way. Spirit bears are omnivores, eating primarily plants, roots, nuts, and berries when available. Of course, their primary food are the salmon, and they are drawn to the streams during the summer and fall, and especially in shallow rivers where the salmon are spawning. You will see the bear having jumped into the water and catching a salmon by the tail. You can see the salmon is still active, and the bear will take the salmon and start to go into the forest. Then he changed his mind and turned around, and still carrying the fish by the tail, goes back across the river. He will walk up a very narrow log. Again, look at his balance. And you see the log bending under his weight, the water dripping from him, and he starts to go into the forest. Watch very carefully as this bear will disappear. At times, one may also spot a spirit bear up on a clear-cut hillside, gorging himself on berries. For most people, that would be the only time they would see a spirit bear, and then only at a very large distance. However, they are seen mostly alone and sometimes sharing fishing spots with black bears. It is extremely unusual to see two spirit bears together in the same fishing area. It is very important that when viewing these bears, one is very respectful of their need for space and to be thankful for these bears allowing us to view them. When they are fishing for salmon, it is very important to be still and very quiet and appreciative of being in their environment. They are a gentle bear, and if given their space, will concentrate on attempting to catch fish. However, any disturbance is likely to send them back into their forest habitat. The bear walking along the edge of the river and essentially coming towards us and not paying too much attention to us, but taking a drink of water and looking for something to eat as well. He knows that we are there and continues, but he is not aggressive at all. In the background, on the upper right-hand corner, you can see some fish moving in the water and splashing. But he is looking on this side to see if there are any fish that can be had over on this side of the river. It is more important than ever to ensure that the Great Bear Rainforest is protected so that these bears can flourish in their own environment and preferred habitat without pressure from human activity.